Hey everybody, what's up? Thanks for joining me. Ted here. And today we're going to talk about some trends going into the new year, 2021. If 2021 were a movie or a novel, it would definitely be dystopian. And it would probably start off something like 2021. The year started with massive layoffs, massive evictions, massive foreclosures, record numbers of people waiting in miles long food lines. But wait, there was hope on the horizon. A vaccine had been found for the pandemic that had swept the globe, and as that vaccine was being administered, a mutation occurred, rendering that vaccine obsolete, and it only got worse from there. Now, 2020 was like a B, low budget version of a dystopian movie. You had your bad actors, and you had your bad dialogue, your bad setting, bad scenes, but you got the point and you got the idea. Unfortunately, 2021 is shaping up to be more of your high dollar Hollywood blockbuster dystopian movie. And unfortunately, those are the trends that I see. I know you might not want to hear it. You're probably sick of all this nonsense. I'm with you. I'm sick of it too. And I hope I'm wrong. But these are the trends that I see and bring to you guys daily. So, one trend that we see is the economy. The economy for 2021 is not looking good. With all those layoffs, like I said, Coca Cola is planning on laying off thousands. Last week, we had 855,000 new initial unemployment claims. And we've been averaging 750,000 new initial unemployment claims for over 9 months now. And while all this is going on, corporations have been cashing in while we sit at home waiting for a stimulus check. And everybody knows in January the ban on eviction runs out. So we're looking at record numbers of evictions and foreclosures coming up. But it's okay, don't worry, because the stock market will be good. Jerome Powell came out and said he's going to continue to keep interest rates low and keep money easy until unemployment reaches full capacity. Now, with all the layoffs I just told you about, we've over 9 months averaged 750,000 per week. With all those layoffs, it's probably going to be a while before we reach full capacity of employment. With that being said, he's going to print and print and print and print and keep this thing propped up. So every single one of the dollars that's in your pocket is going to lose its value. And what's going to happen with that, another trend, is going to be real assets, such as gold and silver, precious metals in general. They're going to go up. Cryptos is going to go up. And like I said, the stock market is going to go up. But that is a risky, risky, risky proposition. Keep that in mind. So another trend, unfortunately and alarmingly, that we see in 2021 is probably more food shortages. So we all know of the weather, from fires to floods to the derecho to during the closures, farmers were being forced to purposefully plow their crops under, and these crops never made it to market. And now, late December going into January, we're seeing North American meat plants, some of them even closing, and other ones cutting back on how many people are allowed, restrictions. So obviously this in 2021 is going to culminate in us feeling this, most likely in meats and fresh fruits and vegetables not being on the shelf, which will lead to more canned goods. But we already know we had an aluminum shortage in 2020. We could feel that with it. So that would affect your food. And not to mention food lines that are the demand is taking food from the food that you might get. And they're warning that they might not be able to keep up with this unprecedented demand on the food, and are looking to very, very generous donations to keep them afloat for 2021. And that doesn't bode well for food. And like I said, the supply chain as well being messed up through things like China having too many shipping containers, the strikes, if we have more closures, okay? So it's probably going to be another round of shortages at the store in food. And if there is food on the shelves, with all the money printing that I talked about from the economy, the way that that's trending, the food on the shelf will be a lot more expensive than what you're used to paying. Another trend that we need to be worried about, and one that is near and dear to my heart, is in 2021, it looks as though the way things are trending, we're probably going to see a lot less freedom in 2021. We already have seen they use scare tactics to make us willingly submit to what they need. And we've given away rights already. We've seen bans in restaurants, school closures. We already know the administration that's supposed to be taking over is admitted that they're going after certain things that are supposed to be covered by our rights. High capacity magazines, braces. They want mandatory buybacks of guns. So we know that that's going to be under attack through 2021 and probably even longer. We also, like I said, we've seen the bans on schools, businesses closing, and then you're going to have the rollout of the vaccine. So what we could see is mandates by employers and businesses to get these vaccines. That's not freedom. That's not freedom at all. And a country where we're supposed to be the beacon of liberty and freedom in 2021, we will probably see a substantially less free America. And the reason they're going to continue to mandate this vaccine, another trend that we're going to see here, is this vaccine is probably going to become a yearly thing. And the reason that you're going to see it become a yearly thing is mutations. We see a mutation in the UK right now. And it's also now spread to a bunch of other countries. We've even had scientists say that it might have even started in America and you might have even already had it. Why do I need a vaccine then? But anyway, this variation of the virus is supposedly 70% more transmissible. And as these things mutate, you're going to have, it might even render this vaccine obsolete. We don't know. Or maybe it just needs small changes. Either way, you would need another vaccine. This one's already multiple shots for the first vaccine. Either way, you would have to change the vaccine, get a new one when they finally make the change. So you can expect this to become almost like a flu shot thing. Because as long as it's going to take them to roll out the first set of vaccines, there's certainly going to be at least, we already know of one mutation, there probably will be more. Which will mean you get ready for them to mandate the vaccine yearly for your own protection, of course. So that's what I see for that vaccine, and I don't like that because that is not freedom. You should have the choice to choose if you want that vaccine or not. And what they'll do is basically discriminate and exclude you if you don't have it. And that's the trend, and that's the way it's going. And what I mean is they will discriminate against you because you don't have the vaccine, you won't get the job. They'll discriminate against you, you don't have the vaccine, you don't get to do this, you don't get to do that. That is the trend. Look at the headlines. Another trend that we see that is near and dear to my heart is homesteading and self-sufficiency in 2020 started to pick up steam because of all the lockdowns. People started to step back a little. Their consciousness has changed, if you will. People started doing more gardening, stuff like that. And I expect through 2021 that trend's going to pick up steam and continue to grow to the point that prepping and homesteading, survivalism, self-sufficiency will be extremely mainstream, and it will no longer be considered conspiracy type of stuff. And I'm all for that because I think that's what we need. So that one is great to me. I'm loving it. And there are a couple things. Now that we know about these trends, let's think about them logically together. That's all I want you to do. This is what my whole channel is based on. First of all, a couple things are, if you live in a big city, you're going to want to definitely get out of there. Because in the big city, it's going to be a lot easier for them to enforce whatever dystopian laws they happen to come up with, right? So when they come up with vaccine mandates, or if they come up with checkpoints, right? They could easily close the city down, choke points, checkpoints. You don't get in without a vaccine, right? So that's much easier for them to enforce that within the confines of that city. So if you can, if you're capable of, get out of the big city. It's also a lot harder to garden in the city and grow your own food. And if you see the trend of food shortages, you're probably going to want to start gardening. Okay? Another thing is, obviously you're going to want to stock up on your food and your water. That's an obvious one. If you see the shortage coming ahead of time, be ahead of the curve. That's the whole thing. But more than that, you want to start building your skills of self-sustainability and find sustainable sources of water and food. Because no matter how big that stockpile is you got, once you start digging into it, it will quickly run out, probably a lot quicker than you thought. And don't forget, you're going to want to definitely have a way to secure that stockpile and protect your family and your property. Go check out my video, 5 reasons you need a gun before 2021, and all the reasons are right there. So get your food, get your water, get your skills of self-sufficiency while you can. Another thing is, if you can find groups of other people that agree with you, get together with them, communicate with them, work out ways together for you to practice for this, because there's no way that you're going to be able to do this on your own. Even if it's you and your wife and a couple of kids, depending on their age, you can't do this on your own. You're not going to be able to stay up for 24 hours on watch and garden and do all the things that you need to do to survive. So get that team together, okay? Because the more of you there are, it's going to substantially up the odds of every one of your survival. And as far as wealth and money in the economy, I would say hundreds and hundreds of years now, precious metals have been a safe haven, and they maintain their value and actually go up over time. So I would definitely take my money out of the bank and put it into ways of being self-sufficient, first of all. Second of all, I would put it into precious metals and cryptos. And if you are brave enough, you can put it in the stock market. I told you, for the beginning of this year, I foresee the stock market going up early in the year, because they're already told us they're going to prop it up. But it's a risky proposition, because you need to know when to get out. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. What kind of trends do you see coming? Do you agree with these trends? Let me know down in the comments below. And remember, my whole motto is don't be scared, be prepared. Be ahead of the curve. You can survive and thrive through this whole thing. Stay ahead of the curve, look at these trends, do what you got to do. Anyway, let me get a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing and be safe.